evening to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to KUTV Weekend Live. It is the 15th day of November. Our report is packaging these news stories to make you informed, and Weekend Live starts right now. The ODM party celebrates 20 years, honoring its journey and the contribution of its founder, the late Raila Amolo Odinga, to the Kenya's political landscape. Ukambani is mine, President Ruto declares as he seeks to consolidate support in the region, wrapping up his tour today. Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i urges the government not to ignore guidance from religious leaders. Religious leaders from Garissa and Tana River call for mutual understanding, condemning acts of religious discrimination.
This is Weekend Live with Ochieng, Cynthia.
And in my company is Naomi Ombui, but also remember that we are live in all of our socials. On YouTube it's KUTVNEWS Kenya, on X it's KUTV_Kenya, and welcome. The Orange Democratic Movement today marked its 20 years anniversary, a milestone arriving at a time when the party's future remains uncertain. Leaders who attended the event reflected on the legacy of the late Raila Amolo Odinga, with Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino assuring that the ideas Raila championed will continue to guide the party. However, Owino also raised concerns over certain decisions made by the party's current leadership, signaling growing unease within the movement. Now to Ukambani. On the final day of his Ukambani tour, President William Ruto, accompanied by his deputy Professor Kithure Kindiki, held a special meeting with other Kenya Kwanza leaders at Kitui State Lodge. Even as he concludes his tour, President Ruto has maintained his position that Kenyans now want politics centered on development.
Arambe! Ati Ukambani mnasemaje? Nyinyi mmekuja kwa muzombe na mimi ndio mwenye hapa.
During his Ukambani tour that took him through Makueni, Machakos and Kitui, President William Ruto repeatedly attacked his opponents, saying they lack policies, plans and agenda capable of moving the country forward.
Jameni, my friends, wacheni siasa ya bure. Siasa ya ukabila.
Today being the final day of his tour, Ruto alongside his deputy Kindiki met with other Kenya Kwanza leaders at Kitui State Lodge. The president continued his criticism of the opposition, firmly standing by his call for development-focused politics.
Wewe unaendesha tu ukabila kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni. Hawana shares, wale wako na shares mingi, wale wako na shares kidogo. Unatuletea ukabila, unatuletea chuki, unatuletea mambo ya kugawanya wa Kenya. That is not what we want.
According to him, the nation will only progress through unity and collective effort, not through divisive politics, a sentiment echoed by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki.
Kenya wants unity, and that is why I say this country, we have what it takes to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country.
Hii nchi yetu itabadilishwa sio kwa maneno, itabadilishwa kwa matendo. Kila sehemu ya Kenya, kusikue na kuna sehemu ya Kenya imewachwa nyuma ati kwa sababu ya siasa. Kwa sababu siasa ni tofauti na mambo ya kuendesha serikali.
Ruto also advised his opponents to come up with meaningful plans and agendas that can drive the nation forward instead of spreading political malice.
Si watatembea hapa Ukambani? Watakuja waseme mambo tatu. Watakuja waseme one term, Kasongo na must go. Sasa nyinyi munieleze, hata kwa kamote Kasongo, one term na must go itabadilisha Kenya namna gani? Wachana na Kasongo, sijui must go, sijui nini, one term. Enda tafuta kazi nyingine ufanye.
He went on to say that Kenya needs courageous leaders, emphasizing that he will not allow Ukambani region to be sunk into misleading politics.
Watu wamepika kelele, wamepika maandamano, wameniita Zakayo, mimi nitoroke. Tungekuwa tuna hii mijengo yote inaendelea kwa hii dunia. Watu wengi kazi yao wanapenda tu makofi, anapigiwa makofi, bwana mkubwa, wamama wanakuimbia hapo, na kuna nchi na kwama. Na msidanganywe ati itatokea, hakuna kitu itatokea. Siwezi kukubali tena watu wazuri wa Ukambani waendelee kuchezewa karata ya pata potea ya upinzani. Vile tutafanya. Kwani utadu?
For his part, Labour Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua praised President Ruto for his accelerated efforts in implementing development projects and criticized leaders who do not prioritize development for the citizens.
Unafanya maendeleo kwa njia ya upesi sana. Ile mtindo wetu tunasema ya chap chap. Tulimuona ndugu yetu, mzee wetu pale anawadanganya wananchi. Lakini shida sio yeye. Unajua amechanganyikiwa kwa sababu hapendi maendeleo. Tunamwambia ngoja William Ruto atakuonyesha maendeleo vile ilivyo.
Other leaders including Mwala MP Vincent Kawaya and Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah supported President Ruto's stand, stating Ukambani region is tired of empty political promises.
The conversation here must culminate in delivering our nation, our Ukambani nation. Tumepitishwa kwa mambo mingi sana ya siasa ambayo haiwezi tusaidia.
Ati Kitui mmesema nini na Ukambani? Mumeamua? Hebu nione tutam.
As he concludes his tour, President Ruto continues to emphasize for agenda that will benefit Kenyans, unity and the pursuit of inclusive development. Rose Kaguku, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Winnie. Now on to some matter that is affecting a segment of teachers. Junior secondary school intern teachers in Embu staged protest demanding confirmation into permanent and pensionable positions as their contract near expiry next month. Backed by Kupet Embu branch, the teachers warned of industrial action if their demands are ignored. They complained that their 17,000 shilling monthly salary is insufficient for the workload and qualifications they hold, with some noting it affects family responsibilities. Kupet urged the Ministry of Education and TSC to urgently engage and resolve the matter to prevent labor unrest.
Mogu's power! We have come to say that the JS teachers who are intern must and should be confirmed by the close of this month. This is because their contract is ending on 1st of December. And therefore we are saying as Embu teachers, enough is enough! Mogu's power! Confirmation is a must! Interns power! Confirmation power! Mogul power! Let me appeal to the government. And I want to address directly to Ogamba that the internship contract ran and stipulated that you are to serve for 12 months. We never agreed on 2 years.
We agreed on 12 months. Kwani mimi sijui hesabu?
We are seeking the government and we are demanding from them, because it was a promise, that they fulfill their promise. And if they don't, because these are our members, in January, in solidarity with them, we will not only paralyze teaching in junior school, but also in senior school, because we want these people confirmed.
Campaigns for the Narok Town Ward by-election have intensified, with senior politicians pitching camp in Narok to rally support for UDA candidate Kanyigi Kudati. The leaders say Kudati, son of the late ward representative Lucas Ole Kudati, is best placed to drive development in the area.
Political heavyweights from across the country conveyed in Narok town, throwing their weight behind preferred political candidates ahead of the upcoming by-elections. On one hand is Douglas Masikonde, a DCP aspirant, who says that he hopes that the upcoming elections will be conducted peacefully and justly, so that if DCP wins, they can come together and have the opportunity to lead the people in the right way. He further stated that no one would want to win an election in a situation where blood is being shed.
Ni matumaini yangu makubwa kabisa kwamba uchaguzi ujao utahakikishwa kwamba ni wa haki, ni uchaguzi wa amani, ili tutakaposhinda tutarudi tukiwa kitu kimoja na tutakuwa na nafasi ya kuongoza watu kwa njia nzuri. Kwa kweli hakuna mtu angependa kukuwa na ushindi ambao umekuwa na umwagikaji wa damu.
Tafadhali wana UDA na Broadbrace na wananchi wote ambao wako ward hii, tuunge mkono huyo kijana Kanyinge aingie amalize ile kama ambaye baba yake alikuwa, tumpatie kwa heshima zote. Na tulisema ya kwamba hii 2027 sivyo ndio tulisema? Hii si 2027 historia. Kwa nini tuko na by election? Marehemu mzee wetu Bulldozer, ambayo ndiye baba huyu kijana Kanyinge, alikuwa Mungu amemkubalia nafasi yake ya miaka miwili kuongoza nyinyi baada ya nyinyi kumchagua. Sisi kama UDA tulikuwa na kiongozi wetu, tulikuwa na candidate, lakini nyinyi mlichagua Bulldozer. Ile miaka imebaki miwili, tunakuja kuomba kwa mikono miwili, kwa heshima, kwa unyenyekevu, mupatie kijana Kanyinge.
On the other hand, UDA candidate Kanyinge Kudate has received backing with supporting leaders, saying he has a youthful aspirant, embodies continuity and development for residents of the fast-growing urban ward. National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah noted that development plans will only succeed if residents uphold peace throughout the campaign period, urging them to remain united and avoid tensions that could disrupt the upcoming by-election.
Marehemu baba ya Kanyinge alitufanyia kazi hapa kama MCA wetu, si ni kweli? Na kwa heshima huyu kijana yake amewaomba msaidie yeye aweze kuendeleza ile kazi baba yake alikuwa anafanya. Na sio kazi yake, sio kazi ya jamii moja. Na mimi nimemsikiza kwa makini sana hapa akiongea. Akasema anataka aunganishe watu wote wa Narok Town.
Kanyingi akiwa sworn in, hiyo siasa mtakorogana na nyinyi wenyewe ndio mtajiamulia 2027 vile mtapanga kaunti yenu ya Narok. Lakini kwa wakati huu, kama uko mrengo gani ama gani, tu focus na tushikilie Kanyingi. Tutafanya hivyo jameni. Kudata tunamshikilia. Na nimeona pia ni kijana gangari. Na kwa sawa ni Gen Z. Na hata kama ulikuwa dem labda.
The Narok Town Ward campaigns are expected to intensify in the coming days as candidates and their supporters heighten their final push before the November 27th by-election, with leaders urging residents to maintain peace and focus on development-driven leadership. Linda Nzilu, KUTV.
From Narok campaigns to church, now a call for the government to listen to the guidance of religious leaders was issued today, alongside renewed prayers for the nation. This was during consecration service of former Deputy President's spouse, Dorcas Gachagua. Take a look.
It was a colorful ceremony marking another milestone in Dorcas Gachagwa's evangelistic journey as she ascended to a higher level of ministry. Dorcas received high praise from her husband Rigathi Gachagua, the former deputy president, who lauded her rise within the religious space, recalling how she stood by him through various challenges, including his removal from the office of the deputy president in October last year.
I'm proud not only as her husband, but as a witness to her integrity, compassion.
The ceremony was attended by political leaders from the opposition.
She embodies the qualities
Dorcas to
befitting
continue praying for the nation while criticizing the current administration.
That you join me in praying for her continued strength, humility, and guidance from above.
That is here with you, and as the church, I want to call upon the people and the men and women of God that are here to intercede for this country, because this country requires prayer.
Mama Boys, you are such an inspiration. Umekuwa mama wa taifa. Hii tukikuona wewe tunaona mama wa taifa.
We support her in her ministry, and she's always busy serving the poor, the downtrodden, people who need support. She also has time to look after us.
Speakers also emphasized the need for the government to take seriously the voices of religious leaders, coming just days after the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops issued a statement both commending and criticizing the government.
I don't even know what our sister has been ordained to which ministry, because you see the widows, the orphans, the Kenyans who are oppressed, the overtaxed Kenyans, the ones who are crying loud, the ones who have been abducted and killed. These are not ordinary times.
The kind of language we are hearing in Kenya today, kuita watu hawana akili, kusema watu hawana agenda, that language is very unpresidential and not befitting of that office. Muombe viongozi wetu so that we may honor that office and uphold our constitutional duties.
Dorcas Gachagua, who has been championing the welfare of the boy child, is expected to strengthen and elevate this mission in her new higher religious capacity.
Interacted with some of these wonderful people here, and I normally tell people, for us in the secular world, these are very dangerous people, because we are going to look for votes from all these people. These ones are ordained by God, and when they speak, we had better listen. And I want to ask our national leaders, His Excellency, our President, and the government, please listen to the clergy, listen to the religious leaders of our country.
Emmanuel Kutosi, Weekend Live.
Of time, in another year or so, Reverend-elect, you'll have another great opportunity to do much more than you did.
And it's at that point that we are taking our very first break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
A new era, a new people. This is the Law Matters Show. A program that brings you legal sensitization on your television.
My statement is written and just the quote the prosecution.
I think that this loss is a setback for Raila Odinga.
What policy recommendations were fronted by the candidate?
With diversity, we demystify important legal issues locally, regionally, and internationally.
What Tanzanians.
Join me, Elvin Onsongo, as I bring you more insights on law matters.
We are looking at social issues. What is the problem? Is it the economy? Is it...
Law Matters Show, creating awareness, advocacy, and enhancing lives.
You are watching Weekend Live with Ochieng, Cynthia.
Welcome back. A major multi-agency counter-terrorism operation led to the arrest of a prominent Mombasa lawyer accused of facilitating ISIS activities in Kenya through cryptocurrency channels. County Police Commander Peter Kimani said the operation began in Nairobi and extended to Mombasa, Nakuru and other areas, targeting terror, financing and radicalization networks. The lawyer was under long-term surveillance with advanced cyber intelligence tools, enabling authorities to track his digital activities. All suspects are expected in court on Monday as investigations continue.
There is a massive operation that started on 5th. It started in Nairobi, 5th of this month, where several arrests were made. This operation against terrorism also continued in other parts of the country, that is Mombasa, Nakuru, and other parts of the country where other several arrests were made. Of a particular importance is a prominent lawyer who has been arrested. He has been financing terrorism he has been facilitating the ISIS radicalization, recruitment and financing of such activities in the country. This, I want to say, is a major breakthrough in terms of investigation of cybercrime, cyber security, and advancement of investigation through cyber.
Elsewhere, church leaders in Garissa and Tana River counties are calling for greater religious tolerance following rising concerns over discrimination and restrictions on Christian worship in parts of the region. The Evangelical Alliance of Kenya says some churches have been unable to hold night services or midweek fellowship due to fear of attacks from criminal gang, accusing some residents of profiling Christians of noise complaints.
A section of Christian leaders have made calls for unity and religious tolerance while taking part in a peaceful procession in Madogo Town, Tana River County. According to the leaders, there is a growing pressure on churches during their worship activities.
Yesu ni Bwana. Yesu ni Bwana. Yesu ni
The Evangelical Alliance of Kenya in Tana River and Garissa counties says some congregants have been forced to cancel night caches and evening services, citing threats from a local criminal gang and fears of targeted violence.
Makanisa kuwa pamoja si shida hiyo, na wale ambao walalamika ni kwamba kuabudu Mungu kuna uwezo wa kuabudu. Ni vile tu ya kwamba kuweze kuwa na ile mode of worship nzuri ya kwamba usiwe na ile kupigia watu makelele.
EAK Tana River Chapter Chairperson Reverend Shadrach Mulokwe urged residents to uphold the constitutional rights to freedom of worship, emphasizing that religious diversity should be a source of strength, not division.
Kwa sababu kukiwa na ile hali ya ikipita extreme itakuwa imeharibu, lakini kanisa kama EAK tunahamasisha kwamba kuabudu kuweko kwa sababu inasaidia sana katika jamii.
The threat of blanket accusations was also addressed, with EAK Chairperson Reverend Boni Odhiambo insisting that individuals involved in crime should be held accountable without stigmatizing entire groups.
And leo vile tumetoka nje kukataa.
And on sports decks, the national women's rugby sevens team, the Kenya Lioness, kicked off their Africa Women's Sevens 2025 tournament on a high note with a commanding 44-0 victory over Cote d'Ivoire at the Arfuer grounds in Nairobi on Saturday afternoon, as the Africa Sevens Cup returned to action in Nairobi, with the best 12 women teams in Africa competing for regional supremacy. The Kenya Lioness, who are in Pool B alongside Ivory Coast and Ghana, are eyeing to dethrone reigning champion South Africa in what promised to be a thrilling encounter. The two-day event brings together rising stars and seasoned players in a high-stake rugby competition. This marks the first time Kenya has hosted the event since 2014. And it has been 30 minutes or so of an informative session here at KUTV Weekend Live. That is all we had for you tonight. And just thanks to everyone who was on behind the cameras. Naomi Ombui being our co-pilot tonight. My name is Ochieng. Cynthia. Till next time, do have a lively night.